the latest updates on China. Let's see what's going on with the China-U.S. tariff wars. Let's see about this showdown they having. My man Charlie Kirk. We like Charlie Kirk. Let's hear what he has to say on the channel.
With us, legendary in the financial space and broadcasting, all around amazing person. Maria, thank you so much for joining the program.
Charlie, thank you so much for having me.
So, Maria, there's a lot of confusion, some could say, around the tariff issue. You understand financial markets. You talk to more CEOs than anybody and lawmakers. What is the latest with the tariff situation as of today?
Yeah, it's funny that, you're saying, what is the situation today? Because, of course, we know that it appears that it feels like it's constantly changing. But the truth is, President Trump has had plans in place from day one. And he's trying right now to categorize things in different buckets, frankly.
Let me clear up this whole bucket talking point that was interjected by the left media. There was tariffs on every country because obviously they had high tariffs to begin with on the U.S. So Trump was going to level the playing field, make it reciprocal. Many countries came to the negotiating table and out of good faith, Trump realized, hey, let's pause these for 90 days, leave it at 10%. And once we finish negotiating, it's going to be different structure for different folks, depending on how they've negotiated as to where the chips may fall with that. China was like, no, you're increasing, we're increasing. You're increasing, we're increasing. So what the Trump administration realized was there were some U.S. companies who had agreed to move to Vietnam and some to the U.S. However, Trump did not want them to get hit and caught up in this trade war. So he excluded, as they say, bucket items, certain certain cars and automobiles and electronics from getting the whole brunt of this tariff war. So it's really not putting China in a bucket list as it is protecting American companies over there in China and putting them in a certain bucket list so they're shielded from this trade war. That's what that's about.
I mean, to make it as simple as possible, he started this, this exercise out by focusing on the fentanyl coming into the country, killing 100,000 Americans, a year. And so, he went to the countries that, he was looking to help. And he put a 20% tariff on them for failing to really stop the problem. And, that was initially the first reason. And then, it's also a revenue generator. He's also raising money into U.S. coffers. So there's that. He's talking about $2 billion a day. Of course, that's terrific, knowing our debt and deficits. Then he's talking about bringing manufacturing to America, and that's another reason that he's looking at tariffs. So today we've got tariffs on fentanyl, which is under the international...
Bringing manufacturing back to America, ladies and gentlemen. China has already stole our manufacturing jobs, okay? So if you leave it as is, that means zero wins, zero gains, zero jobs for America. If you bring the manufacturing jobs back to America, and there's a big plan already in place, believe it or not, assembly line of robots from turning Tesla into basically the world's next best robot. Everyone has a robot in their home type of situation going on over there in Tesla. And the idea is that from manufacturers to people needing someone to pick up the kids at school, daycares to farm, these little, I think it's called Optimus robots will do all the tasks of like 20 humans, one robot, and everybody could buy one. But the manufacturing job comes those who are educated and are going to be able to, maintain and keep these robots running and be really a branch of Tesla. Obviously, there will be many other jobs in the tech field associated with these robots, But these will be high paying jobs. Everybody wants to look at the glass half empty. No one was going back to the other jobs to begin with. That's why China was doing them. So now you're begging for good jobs, and they're going to come with these robots. So just be on the lookout for that.
Emergency economic powers that the president is using, which of course allows the president to regulate, foreign and business activity internationally, and place those tariffs on partners or wherever.
Real quick, you are on the Political Decode podcast. If you like the content, please hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you can get informed next time I do a reaction. I would love to make sure that you're the first to know. Let's go.
And then he's got the tariffs having to do with aluminum and steel. And he's talking about tariffs there being a national security issue. So you know what, Charlie? I think this whole thing is not just an economic issue, but it is a national security issue. And that's what I wish, corporate America would understand. I wish most people would understand. These people that are trading stocks and, selling their portfolio and putting pressure on the markets. It's really not a good idea. And it's not, when I say not a good idea, it's not a good idea for them. Okay. Because you have to hold, the stock market is the best place
Ladies and gentlemen, you can go look up Tesla right now, what they're gearing up to do. Smart money is on Tesla. You buy right now. You think when the stock is going up, you're going to buy and make money? No, that's when everybody's selling. So if they're selling, then when are they buying? Light bulb. They're buying now while people are panicking and selling and the stock is going low. And now I'm not talking about day traders like myself. I have another channel and for that. But I'm talking about those investors. People who are investing your money and wanted to sit there for a year or two, 10 years, 20 years. Right now is the time to buy the dip on Tesla.
Long term for wealth creation. So if you really want to make money over the long term, decide where you want to put your, where you want to invest. We can get to that later. That's another conversation. Stay there, and you don't trade in and out of it. Okay, so you stay there long term. If you didn't sell anything, you're fine. Okay, so you saw lots of volatility on Wall Street in the last couple of weeks. But again, this is a national security issue, and I really don't care how much it cuts into people's profits right now. It's not the priority. The priority is that communist China is undermining America at every turn. Whether it be, okay, you could start with COVID. Why don't we start there? Okay, COVID, we all know where it came from, and we knew that actually very early on. Secondly, there was a COVID cover-up. They cornered the market on things, like masks and gloves and this and that. And I remember reporting that at the time because I had my hospital sources call me and say, Maria, ships were on their way to America with all this stuff that we need. They were told, turn around and go back to China. So they totally cornered.
I'm not too big in this COVID conspiracy. I mean, when you know someone personally who's died and their brother almost died too, it started making you think maybe it was just more than just a flu. But yeah, how it started, definitely Wuhan lab. We know how it started.
They had, not to mention the spy balloon that travels the country, thanks Joe Biden for the whole week of having the surveillance balloon send information back to the Chinese Communist.
Hey, do y'all still remember that spy balloon across our country? Joe Biden just sleeping there, just at the wheel, like, what spy balloon? I mean, it went literally across the whole country. It wasn't shot down until it got in the Pacific. Oh my Jesus.
Party in real time, but you also have spies galore coming in all the time. They have exploited the student visa process. They have exploited and capitalized on anything they can. And it's because the Communist Party of China wants to overtake the United States as the #1 superpower. President Trump is aware of this. So he needs to protect the country. And one of the most important ways and direct ways to do that is to ensure that America is independent of its own production. There is no way in hell anybody would believe that we are completely reliant on communist China for our prescription drugs. It's outrageous. We can't have it any longer. We need to change that immediately. Advanced semiconductor chips, same thing. We are reliant on Taiwan. We all know that China wants to reunite with Taiwan. So in 3 seconds, China will be able to shut the lights off and on in the world if they go in and get all of those 90% of advanced semiconductor chips. These are serious issues. So President Trump is making it so expensive and so hard for companies not to want to produce in America, not to want to manufacture in America, that they're all going to immediately start talking like patriots. And that's what should happen.